Welcome to Chichén. Before you start your tour, we recommend first to get these words in order to understand better the vocabulary that you will listen. Pay attention. Above, archaeological site, dating from, century, Toltec, conquered, temple, warriors, excavating, a tree-covered hill, great ball cart, wide, long, the Mayans, platforms of eagles and jaguars, human hearts, four-sided pyramid-shaped building, leader, astronomers, mathematicians, steps, solar year, adorn, pyramid's base, feathered, synchronize, equinoxes, sun, slither down, south, building, observatory, solstices, treetops, knowledge, northernmost, columns, stairs, stone mosaics, doorways. This is Chichén. Let's start. Archaeological complex. Here we are above the archaeological site at Chichén in Mexico. Chichén was a Mayan city dating from the 5th century AD. In the late 10th century, the Toltec people who lived north of Chichén appear to have conquered the city. Buildings constructed after that time show a great deal of Toltec influence. Temple of Warriors. Archaeologists spent 4 years excavating the Temple of Warriors, finishing their work in 1928. Before they started, all they saw was a tree-covered hill 50 feet, 15 meters high. Great Ball Court. The Great Ball Court, which is approximately 550 feet, 167 meters long and 225 feet, 68 meters wide, was used for a game called Tlachtli or Pok Ta Pok. The rules of this game are not known, but it's very likely that it was similar to modern-day racquetball. Temple of Jaguar. This temple is close to the Great Ball Court. Murals painted on its walls show battles which may be symbolic or may be actual battles fought by the Mayans. Platform of eagles and jaguars. Built during the Toltec period, this site has pictures of jaguars and eagles eating human hearts. So, welcome and let's start. Temple of Kukulkan. You're standing at the base of the Temple of Kukulkan, a four-sided pyramid-shaped building used by the Mayan people in the 11th century. This building honors the Toltec leader, Kukulkan, also known as Quetzalcoatl. When the Spanish arrived in Central America, they called El Castillo, which means the castle. "365 steps. The Maya were advanced astronomers and mathematicians. The Temple of the Kukulkan stands 79 feet tall and has 365 steps if you count the platform. That's the same number of steps as the number of days in a solar year. Serpent sculptures. Sculpted serpents adorn the pyramid's base. Serpents were important symbols to the Toltec people who conquered the Maya in the late 900s and whose presence influenced the architecture of the temple of Kukulkan. Kukul means feathered, and Kan means serpent. Really amazing. Serpent shadows. The temple of Kukulkan was built to synchronize with two annual equinoxes. On those 2 days, the sun casts shadows that look like serpents. As the sun sets, the serpents appear to slither down the sides of the temple. Wow. Very good. El Caracol. You're standing south of the temple of Kukulkan, looking at El Caracol, a building in the older part of Chichén Itzá, built around 900 AD. El Caracol is believed to have been an observatory. The Mayans knew a lot about the stars and planets, including the equinoxes and solstices, and when to expect eclipses. The viewing tower. El Caracol's tower stands about 15 meters, 49 feet tall. From the top, high above the treetops, the 10th century Mayans could view the night sky without obstructions and expand their knowledge of astronomy. Stairs. A long flight of stairs leads to El Caracol's entrance. The stairs don't line up with the other buildings at Chichén Itzá. Instead, they are aligned with the northernmost point that Venus reaches as it appears to move across our sky. The window openings. Look closely at the top of El Caracol and you'll see what looks like windows in the stone wall. The Mayan builders placed them to line up with various celestial events, probably involving the planet Venus. The snail. Caracol means snail in Spanish and probably refers to the winding staircase inside the dome that you're looking at. The winding stairs lead to the top tower, the best place for viewing the night sky. This must be beautiful to watch all of this at night. Temple of Warriors. Go east from the Temple of Kukulkan and you will arrive at the Temple of Warriors, built around 950 AD. The temple rests on top of 4 platforms that measure 136 square feet, 41 square meters at the base, and rise 37 feet, 11 meters high. It's very similar to a structure in Tula, where the Toltecs who conquered the Maya came from. The columns. Many of these temples' columns originally supported a roof. There are 200 of them, all about 8.5 feet, 2.6 meters high. They were once painted in bright colors and they still sport carvings of Toltec warriors. Chacmol. Atop the pyramid is a statue known as Chacmol. It depicts a male figure head turned to face you. On his belly there's a platter which something was used to hold the hearts of people who were sacrificed. Carvings. At the top of the big staircase are carvings of male figures. It's believed that they held flags on ceremonial occasions. Wow, how many columns? Like a lot. Let's continue. Plaza of 1,000 columns. Just outside the Temple of Warriors is the Plaza of 1,000 columns. There aren't actually 1,000 columns, more like 200. Parts of a frieze that formed the base of a roof were found among the columns. Like the Temple of Warriors, the columns were built in the early period of Chichén Itzá's history. The columns. Columns vary from round to square. All have carvings including bas-relief sculptures of warriors. One group of the columns may have formed a small temple. It surrounds an open rectangle decorated with carvings of godlike figures and animals and serpents. Las Monjas, the nunnery. This complex of buildings is called Las Monjas, or the nunnery, but that's not what it was. When people from Spain arrived at Chichén Itzá, they thought that the building seemed like a monastery because it had so many rooms. Today, archaeologists believe it was a palace built in the 7th century AD, before the Toltecs took over Chichén Itzá. As the nunnery complex eastern edge is a small building called the iglesia, church. This is the smallest building in the complex, with just one room. Its hook-like carvings are thought to represent the nose of the rain god Chak. The steps on Las Monjas' north side rise about 32 feet 10 meters and lead to the warren of small rooms. Some were painted with bright murals, while others were decorated with stone mosaics. The doorways were decorated with hieroglyphics. This is the end of the virtual tour. I hope you have enjoyed this. See you soon.